the weather with a headache, so I'm not my usual happy puppy self today. So it's not you, it's me, guys. And I am going to turn my camera off so I don't have to worry about smiling for the video that we are going to make of this session.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you guys. Okay, so I'm going to stop my video and I'm going to share my PowerPoint and we'll go ahead and get started. And oh, thank you, John. You're already recording. Okay, so today's session is our last in the series of Kaltura sessions, and this one is specifically focused on engaging students with the tools that are available in Kaltura. You know, John, you know me. We've said this spiel a million times about if you need help, one of the fastest ways to get that help is to submit a ticket to the help desk by sending simply an email to helpdesk@Rider. And that way it'll get your issue routed to either us if we're the right party for it, or to media if they need to answer the questions related to Kaltura that you're having. And so what we're going to kind of cover today is just really briefly talk a little bit about why. Why should we use video, or why is it important to consider using video and incorporating video in your courses? And then some of the tools that we're going to talk about, or some of the features we're going to highlight, are the media gallery, the express capture, which we have not covered in any of the previous Kaltura sessions. We'll talk a little bit about video discussions, video quizzes, and video assignments. So when we talk about why video, why should you want to use it? And it's really because you don't want your courses to be flat. When we're talking about engaging students, we want them to have courses that are dynamic and exciting and interesting, right? And so an easy way to do that, one that doesn't require you to learn a whole bunch of new tools and softwares and skill, is to kind of incorporate video and multimedia content where and when you can in your Canvas course sites. Research tells us that student dissatisfaction with technology really has a direct impact on retention, and that when you can use technology effectively in your course, that there is a positive impact on that retention. And there was a study done a couple of years ago by Arizona State University that found there's a direct correlation between improved course grades and students who viewed faculty created videos. So we know that there are advantages when it's related to engagement by using video, because when students have the opportunity to engage with video that you've created for them, it kind of speaks to them and lets them know the effort that you've put into creating the content that you're asking them to learn, and it really improves their learning experience. One thing to keep in mind, you want to make sure that when you're incorporating the multimedia and you're creating these videos, and you might even be asking students to do the same, we want to make sure that it's easy to use and that you're leveraging it in ways that make sense in your course. We don't want to use it just because, it has to make sense in the course, because we don't want it to become an additional barrier for students. And we all know that with what's going on with the remote learning and COVID and everything that everybody's dealing with in this pandemic, we don't want to add another barrier that makes it harder for students to succeed in your courses. So when we talk about using video, I also want to talk a little bit about learning styles. And so when we fall back on that flat course where you're focused on text-based announcements or text-based discussions, or you're sharing with them an article that they have to read, or chapters they have to read, or write this reflection, it doesn't necessarily speak to the different learning styles that students have. And they learn in all different ways. And if we're only giving them reading, writing, reading, writing, reading, writing, we're not addressing the other learning styles that they may have. So if you're familiar with the VARC model of learning styles, they say that there's 4 distinct: visual, where you learn by seeing or observing; auditory, where you learn by hearing; reading and writing, where you learn with text; and kinesthetic, where you learn by doing. The problem with that model for me is that it doesn't take into consideration that learning styles are not distinct and they often overlap. And while you may have one main dominant trait, there are other overlapping styles And if we're only assigning flat content, we're not addressing all of these different learning styles. And we need to do that if we're going to try to get them engaged. So using video effectively can help us address those overlapping learning styles and help them engage in a better way. So to start, what tools we could use that come from Kaltura that'll help us create this engaging course and engage students with the content in the course. We're going to talk a little bit about the media gallery. So if you've come to other sessions that we have delivered about Kaltura, you may remember that the media gallery, it's a shared repository for videos and it's course specific. Once you add the media gallery to that particular course, any content that you publish to the media gallery is visible to all students and all instructors within that particular course. I am going to switch now to Canvas, and I actually want to demo this portion of it for you. And just let me know if you can all see Canvas now. Okay, great. So if you remember, when you log into Canvas, the one link that is visible by default that gives you access to Kaltura is My Media. Media Gallery is hidden by default. So if you're interested in possibly setting up the Media Gallery in your course, a reminder is you have to head over to Settings. And if you give me 1 second, I'm trying to make this a little bigger. Once you're in Settings, you head over to Navigation. And you will find Media Gallery in this list of hidden options at the bottom. You can either click, hold, and drag Media Gallery up to the list at the top, or you could also click the dots on the right-hand side and choose Enable. But once you've enabled Media Gallery, you always want to remember to scroll down and hit Save. Once Media Gallery is in your course menu, you have the ability to publish content here. So we also recommend embedding content directly in a page of content in your modules area, but this is a way where you can make all of the video content available from a single place where students can search and review and watch. And another advantage of setting up the media gallery is that students are able to add media here as well. So if you want to allow students the opportunity to collaborate on projects and share the results, or if you're asking them to curate content that's related to a topic that's being covered in class, and you'd like them to be able to share the video resources they're finding, whether it's content they create themselves, whether it's a YouTube clip they find, they're able by default to add media to a course's media gallery, okay? We're going to talk about two things related to the media gallery. First is media comments. So if you normally have students watch video in class and maybe respond verbally to questions or prompts or discuss, what is happening during class after watching that video, a way you can kind of mimic that or give them the ability to do that virtually or remotely is to use the media comment feature that's available on content that they access via the media gallery. So if student watches this particular film that I've added to the media gallery, they can watch the film, and if we get to a certain point and there's a question here, the student can add a comment. And you'll notice when I click in this comment field that's located below the player, there's the ability to add a text comment here. And the student also has the ability to select the option to add the comment right at that time in the film. So as you'll see here, there's already an existing comment that was tagged at the 9-second mark. And as the viewer, as the user, I can click that link and go directly to that place in the video. So if a student has a question in a particular point and they add that comment here, you can navigate directly to the video to watch where they might have had that question or where they're making that comment. Once a comment is added, it is added to the list of comments below the player. Students and instructors can reply to comments. So if a student posts a question, another student can respond, or if you pose a question at a particular point in the video, you can ask students to reply to you there with their thoughts. Or about what it is you're asking at that particular point in the video. You can turn the ability to comment off. So if you want to share films, if you want to share video content and you don't want students to be able to comment, if you're asking students to share their own work and you want to turn off the ability to comment on those particular films and clips so that you're avoiding any potential issues, if we, let's head to actions, we're going to edit. Then we go to options. You can disable comments on an individual basis. So within the media gallery, if there are certain video pieces that you don't want people to be able to comment on or students to comment on, you can disable. You can also close discussion. So if we've moved forward, we're on to the next topic. They should no longer be back in here commenting on this video. You're moving them forward in the content. You can also close the discussion so that the previous comments are available and can be reviewed, but you are not allowing any new comments, okay? And once you save, those new options go into effect. But again, the default is that the media comments are on for any media that gets added to the media gallery. So you only want to head into your options if you want to disable those comments for a particular video. Now, I did mention that students can add content to a media gallery, and I'm going to share from a student perspective really quickly to give you an idea of what that looks like. And so I'm in this course with a student level account. When I head over to Media Gallery, you'll notice that I have an Add Media button as a student. So when I click that Add Media button, I can pull from my own personal My Media area as a student. So students have a My Media just like you do, where they can upload content that they've created outside of Kaltura. They can also, and you'll notice if they choose to add new, they can create new content using either Express Capture or pull in content from YouTube, okay? So if a student wants to add a particular piece of content to, we're just gonna say add new, we'll say media upload, and it's the same process that you would follow. I wanna find something short and sweet. Let's try that one. And it's the same screen that you see when you are uploading media to your My Media area. They have the ability to change the title, enter a description, add tags. So the same functionality that you have as instructor, it's just adding it to their personal My Media area. And once I hit save, it saves the upload. And when I head back to Media Gallery, I'll see as the student a message at the top of the screen. Your additional media will be presented once it is ready and approved. Because one of the things that we do recommend is that you turn on moderation so that any content that is added by students is not automatically available to the whole class. You have the opportunity to review and approve that content before it is made available via the media gallery. So if I switch back to the instructor view, okay, and I head over to Media Gallery. When there is new content available from students that need to be approved, there will be a pending tab available to you at the top of your Media Gallery. When I click pending, it shows me the content that has been uploaded. I can see who it's from, when it was uploaded, and I can either approve or reject it. So after I play it and preview it, if I want to approve it, I simply click approve. And to go back to see it in the media gallery, I just hit the media tab. But again, if I wanted to approve them all at once, I can select multiple videos and click approve, but I'll go ahead and approve the second one. And so that's the moderate feature. So if you're interested in having students work together or produce content that you wish that they can share with the rest of the class and kind of interact with the content in that way, using Media Gallery and turning on comments and turning on the ability for you to moderate the content that's being added here is another way that you can use the tools in Kaltura, and maybe a way you hadn't thought about or wasn't sure was available. Any questions about that, John? Okay.
I had a question. Well, first of
Sure.
all, like, I should have taken this class yesterday because that literally I spent hours trying to figure out how to have my students submit their videos, and I went through this convoluted, messy thing. But anyway, so a couple of questions. When the students, so they have their own My Media, which I didn't
Correct.
know. When they go into their own Zoom room to make their recordings of their presentation, does it add automatically to their My Media like it does for us?
If they record to the cloud, it should. And I
Okay.
say should because we just have not had the opportunity to test it from the student side of things, but I know that anything I'm recording goes there. So it should, as a student, as long as they're logged into their Writer account and they're recording to the cloud, it should automatically go to their My Media.
Okay, and then the other question I had was about the comment and
Okay.
reply feature. So if I don't use Media Gallery, but I embed my videos into Pages, is that same feature
It
still
should
there?
still be there.
Okay,
And I did not, I told you I'm not quite 100% today. I forgot to tell you how to make sure you turn on that moderate feature because it is not on by default. When you're in the Media Gallery, you want to look for the icon at the top right. I don't know, it's like a stack of books, a stack, whatever we're calling this icon here at the top right. When we click that, we want to head over to the edit option that's at the top of that pop-up menu. And then you want to make sure you turn on the very first checkbox for moderate content. It is not on by default. You need to turn that on in the Media Gallery if you want to be able to moderate content added by students. And once you make that change, you just click Save, and then the moderate feature is on for that particular Media Gallery in that particular course. Sorry about that. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about are announcements. And we're going to talk about video announcements. And this is kind of one of the easiest points of entry for using video in your course. You already have a syllabus. And in that syllabus, you probably already have a weekly outline that you've typed out and included in the syllabus, or there's a separate document that you post. Maybe you even use, the overview pages and you include a weekly breakdown of what's going to happen every week. In addition to that text version of that weekly outline, you can basically use Kaltura to create a really quick and easy recording of what's going to happen and be covered during that week. It can be shared along with your text announcement, so you can include that text information for those visual learners who like to see it and like to read it, but you're also including this recorded version for those students who like to listen and like to hear, and they don't necessarily want to read. They want to see you, they want to read your body language, they want to hear your voice, and it gives them a sense of personal engagement with you, even though it's asynchronous. They can watch this video when they come in and look at that announcement whenever they want, and they can watch it as many times as they want. It's not a once and done. If they need to hear instructions repeatedly, they can do that. Another bonus is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every semester. So if your schedule is pretty much the same, the topics that you're going to cover are pretty much the same. If you record these recordings and make them as generic, sometimes the term is evergreen, as possible, make sure you don't reference dates, make sure you're not referencing the semester you're in. You can reuse those recordings because they're available to you in My Media. They could be re-embedded semester after semester without the need to be updated. And it saves you some work and time. So you're not having to record every single semester, every week. This is stuff that can be done and reused each time. It's another way that you can kind of re-engage students at the start of every week, so they know there's a new announcement coming, keeps them interested, reminding them of things that needs to be done. And when you're working with announcements, the way you can incorporate video here when you're creating a new announcement, you simply want to look for that Kaltura icon that's in the toolbar above the text area of the rich content editor that's displayed once you're creating a new announcement. When you click that Embed Kaltura Media icon, you have access to your My Media content. So all of the content that you've already uploaded will be listed here for you. You could also add new content right from within this dialog. You can upload something new from your computer. You can pull in something from YouTube if you're sharing content or a resource. You can even use Express Capture, which I'm going to demo in a few minutes, to create content on the fly. So when you're embedding content, it's simply finding the video you want to use, selecting the embed button, and it adds that video right to your announcement area. So you can also include the text if you wish, and all of the regular features that you have available with you for announcements. You can delay posting, so you can get ahead of the game and set these announcements up so they become available automatically on certain days and times. You can allow users to comment, so it's not just a one-way transfer of information. They can watch this video, and if you allow comments, they can ask questions, and you can have kind of a conversation about the information you've provided here. And just like anything in Canvas, to save changes to your content, you click Save. So video announcements is one way to include. Video discussions is another. And I know, especially with a lot of the remote and hybrid offerings that everyone has been offering since March, we're seeing an explosion in the use of the discussion tool. And it's pretty much because it's an easy way to allow students to interact with each other via those discussion boards asynchronously. And so typically you've got a question that you pose based on readings or resources that you're covering in a particular week. Students have to compose a response or answer to those questions, and then you may even be asking them to respond to each other or interact with each other's responses. And so you can switch this very easily to video discussion boards. And what it does is it takes what's this traditionally kind of boring text-based tool and interjects, the kind of excitement of video. So you have students who are now not having to read 20 introductory posts or look at all of these boring text-based answers. They can watch a video and listen to each other explain their position or their response or how they came to a certain answer. And so, my recommendation is you don't have to force the video response. Maybe the beginning of the semester, ask everybody to do a kind of introductory video to let them know that the tool is there and how it's used. And then as you progress through the course, for those academic graded content-based responses that you're going to ask them for, give them the option. This really appeals to those other learners who like to learn. They want to do something. They just don't want to passively watch or listen. They want to actually get in and create their own videos and create their own responses. This is especially effective for language classes, so students can speak their discussion responses rather than type them. So any class where you're asking students to kind of be responsive in that way, you might get them more excited and more engaged to participate if they have the opportunity to respond using video versus text. But because you're giving the option, you're also still appealing to those students who would prefer to type their responses and submit it in that way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch again. And I just want to talk about Express Capture because I want to show you the perspective from the student side of things. And we should be good here. And I'm going to head over to modules. And in this course, I'm going to head to this particular discussion activity. And so this, again, is the student perspective. So as a student, if I've been asked to record a video response, I'm going to do it in exactly the same way my instructor would. I'm going to hit reply on that discussion. I'm going to look for the Embed Kaltura icon in the toolbar. And when I click that icon, I want to talk about Express Capture, especially here. And so what Express Capture is, it's kind of like a pared down version of Kaltura Capture. So if you've come to our Kaltura Caption session, that's the personal capture that comes with Kaltura that allows you to narrate slides, it allows you to record your video, it allows you to record audio, a combination of all three. It requires an install of something on your computer. When you record, you're recording on your computer outside of Canvas, outside of, you're not online in a web browser. Express Capture allows you to record that video directly within your internet browser using your webcam and your microphone. So it does not require a separate install. Once the recording is finished, it is uploaded directly to My Media without needing to install separate programs or do anything extra. Now, it's click and shoot compared to Capture. There's less to set up, less to get into. This is really good for students because it allows them to really easily respond to something like a discussion board, or if you have a video assignment, it's an option for them to use for that as well. It adds it to My Media automatically, so it can be shared later and saved for, future use. Automatically generates captions, just like the other content that you're creating and storing in Kaltura. But it really is best for these shorter recordings. Nothing more than 5 minutes, really. If it's a longer recording, we're going to recommend Capture. So things like announcements, things like discussions, they would work best for Capture. Keep in mind, and students may need to be reminded of this as well, you have to use your internet connection to use Capture. So if you've got spotty connection, we're not recommending its use, because if you lose internet during the recording session, it can cause an issue with the resulting recording. It could be lost, it could be corrupted. So you want to be very sure that you've got a dedicated plugged in connection or really good Wi-Fi when using it. And it's limited in terms of it's just your webcam video. If you want students to produce a narrated presentation, they need to use Capture, because you cannot include slides. You're not able to share your screen. There's no drawing tool available with Capture. It is strictly your camera and your microphone. Okay. To get started with Capture, we hit Express Capture. And it's asking me to allow. So welcome to my bedroom. What you see is what students will see. There's a gear icon at the top where I can go to select the camera and the microphone that should be used. If you have multiple options here, you can click the arrows to switch from one camera to another. You can also toggle your camera off. So if you want to record audio only, or if a student needs to record audio only, they can turn that camera off and it captures only the microphone. If I toggle the camera back on, it's back on and I can go back. Same thing, I can choose from different microphones. So if you have multiple microphone inputs, you can choose the one that you wish Express Capture to use. Or again, if you want to record a silent movie, I don't know why you would. Maybe it's just demonstration of software, I'm not sure, but you can turn your audio off. Again, it's a silent movie at that point, so I would not recommend that. And once you are ready, you click the red button. It gives you the 3, 2, 1 countdown, and you're recording. What you will notice is there is no pause button. So it's a one take deal. If you've got a mistake, you're gonna stop the recording and you can pause and you can record again. So if you don't like what you did, you trash the original, record again. You do have the ability to download a copy. So a student can download for saving on their computer or elsewhere, whatever video content they're creating here. But if you are happy, if the student is happy, if you are happy, you choose the use this button. And there it goes. It's doing the automatic upload to the My Media area. The same options we have when we're uploading anywhere in Kaltura are available to us here. We can change this default title to something that's more meaningful and makes sense, add descriptions, add tags, and we save. Okay. questions about Express Capture? I know the questions we anticipate are why use this over Capture, Kaltura Capture. This is quick and dirty. This doesn't require installation. For students who were just kind of doing a quick response to a discussion, they might want to use this rather than record outside. Make sure you then upload to My Media so that it is available. So it's just a quick and easy way to record on the fly within Canvas, but still taking advantage of the options that you have with Kaltura. Questions about that? Okay. I am going to now switch and we're going to talk about video assignments. So this moves a little bit further up the engagement ladder. And so when you create an assignment, such as an oral presentation, or maybe it's a video project, where students have the option to create recorded video instead of a typical text-based assignment, as long as you're maintaining the same level of rigor, we're not recommending that we change the rigor. As long as the video option maintains that same rigor, you'll find that students may be a little bit more motivated, more engaged in that assignment. You might see the resulting projects are of better quality than those written papers that you were requesting before that. This can be done. Students can do presentations. So they have PowerPoint slides and they record themselves doing a presentation on their research. You can have students do debates where each student is assigned a pro or con position and they have to record a 5-minute argument and share that either via an assignment or a discussion, depending on what setup you want. You can have students role play. So if they're acting out a case study or a scenario that other students need to watch and react to, you can set that up as a video assignment. Lab work. If they need to do lab work virtually, they can record themselves conducting the experiment or the activity so that they're documenting the process for you. Demonstrations. So like in the nursing program where you have students who had to do assessments and it's hard to do remotely, used to being in a classroom where they're demonstrating the assessment, the teacher is watching and giving them feedback and commentary. So have them record that demonstration and submit that to you for assessment later on. So all of these can be done as a video assignment. Performances as well. If it's a performance-based class, have them record their performances. It all starts by creating an assignment in Canvas. And you'll notice it's just like creating a regular assignment. We're going to click that Add Assignment button. You would give it a name. Same thing you do anywhere else, assign it a point value. But what you want to do here, under Online, you want to make sure you select text entry, because you want to give students access to that rich content editor toolbar so they can get to the Embed Kaltura Media option, so that they can either use Express Capture to do the recording, or they can pull in a recording that they've uploaded because they recorded in Zoom, or because they use Capture to create that recording. They can pull that in from their My Media area. So you want to make sure it's set to text entry. You will notice the media recording option is here, and that's a piece of Canvas that has been around and been available, but we really recommend that we don't go that route, that we go the text entry route to give them access to Kaltura, because there's more flexibility related to the Kaltura submissions. First and foremost, if you use the media recording options, those uploads are getting stored in Canvas and count against storage, and it can run into students running out of space. If you are uploading to your Canvas course site using media recordings, you start eating up at the space that is set aside for your course. It's in Canvas. John, correct me if I'm wrong, we are currently unlimited?
Kaltura? Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to say that and be wrong, but we do have unlimited storage space for media that's stored on the Kaltura file server. And we also have the benefit that it streams at various internet speeds. as well as it's optimized for the different types of devices that students are using, phones, tablets, computers. So it really is an advantage to use this text entry option so that they can use the Kaltura feature instead of choosing media recordings like you may have in the past. When you select text entry, all of the other settings like due date, all of those apply. You would just save and publish. And so then for students, I'm going to head back over and give you that student perspective. And let me find an assignment. Hang on, because I forgot to make assignments available.
Heather, does that kind of answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, it's
I
one of those-
usually select all options just in case.
Yeah, I mean,
know.
I'm usually a fan
That works.
of a lot of. I was going to say I'm usually a fan of more choice, but if you're trying to make it where students are being consistent in how they're submitting, especially if it's a discussion board, like give them the one way and that's it. If that's
Exactly. You get less questions that way. So as the student, I'm in this particular assignment. Here is the text entry. I'm going to start my entry. Boom, there's our beautiful toolbar. And once we have access to our toolbar, we have access to our rainbow sprinkle Kaltura icon. And students can either select from content they've already created and uploaded to their My Media, or they can use the Add New to upload new content, or they can use Express Capture. So one of the options, if they have installed Capture, the full version of Kaltura Capture, and they've used that, that content would appear in the My Media listing. So it does not appear as an option under Add New because it's assuming that the students have already created and saved, and it would have been uploaded to the My Media area. So again, they simply look for the content they want to use. It embeds the video content in the assignment. When we click save as a student, then we hit submit. And this is what the student sees on their end. So when you use video assignments, you can still grade this through SpeedGrader. This doesn't change your grading process. It still appears for you in SpeedGrader. And I'm just going to switch again. This is making me dizzy. Okay. And if we head over to assignments and we go to that video project and we head over to SpeedGrader, it appears for you exactly the way it would if they'd submitted that Word doc or that PowerPoint or that presentation. You're able to watch it. You're able to review it. You can give comments just as you would grade in the past. So making it a video assignment and giving them that option does not remove from you the ability to grade as you did using SpeedGrader. Any questions about that? Okay, so the last topic is video quiz. And we knew we were going to run close to running out of time on this, so I'm going to try not to sprint through it too much. But this is one of the last ways that you can help increase engagement is by adding a video quiz. So one of the benefits of doing a video quiz is that it makes watching the video more active or interactive, because it can be kind of a, okay, they're watching it. Are they retaining it? Because are they really paying attention? Are they watching it from beginning to end, or are they just watching it and dropping off? So if you use the video quiz feature, it allows you to take content you've created or content you've pulled in from YouTube and insert questions. Those questions can be multiple choice, true, false. There are two open-ended type of questions. One is called open-ended and one is called reflection point. So an open-ended question allows students to kind of give a longer answer than choosing a true, false, or a multiple choice answer, where the reflection point, you're kind of pointing out, you're emphasizing something that students should be thinking about. So it's not necessarily a question you're asking there, but more you're pausing and asking them to pay special attention at this point in the video, and here's what you should be looking at, and here's what you should be thinking about. So it's not necessarily a question there that you're asking them, but more something you want them to keep in mind. You can set up video quizzes so that the scores they earn are passed to the gradebook. So it is a way kind of to keep track of student progress and give them credit and give them grades for doing the work in the video. You can set it up so that multiple attempts are allowed. You can even lock the video so that students can't skip forward. They have to watch it, from beginning to end. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by heading over to My Media. And that's where you start when you want to build a new video quiz. You look for that Add New button at the top right, and it's the very last option in the pop-up window. It's called Video Quiz, and you're going to click on that. And so what you have to do at this point is select the video that you want to embed the quiz in. And again, you can search by typing in keywords, tags, anything that makes it easier to filter your videos. When you find the video that you want to use, you click the select button that's located to the right of that video. And then what happens next is you're taken into this quiz editor that allows you to start building this quiz. So in the middle of the page is the video itself. You're able to play, add questions here. On the left-hand side are kind of the details, the options, the settings that you can put in place for a video quiz. And we're going to start with details, which is the first one. You can change the name. It's going to pull the name from the video that you're using, but you can actually call this quiz 1 if you wanted to and change that name. You can choose whether or not the welcome page is displayed on the first screen of the quiz. And if it is, you can customize the message. So if you want to let students know when the scores will be released or what they should be doing, or any kind of welcome message you want to provide students can be entered in this text box here. If you don't want to show the welcome page, you simply click to turn that checkbox off. There is the option to download a list of questions. So students will be prompted with an option to download this if you leave this on. If you want students maybe to have access to the list of questions so that they know what to pay attention to, so they know the questions that are coming, so they can be aware of what they should be focusing on, you can choose to do that. If you don't want them to have access to the questions ahead of time, you simply turn off that download questions list option. And again, there are instructions that are displayed. These cannot be changed. You just have to choose whether or not you want those displayed or not. The text that is displayed is listed there. The next tab we have access to is the scores tab. And this is where you're telling Kaltura how many attempts students have and whether or not they should see their scores. So if this is more like a practice quiz and you're letting them watch this video and take a couple of stabs at it, this is not a once and done, you can allow multiple attempts by selecting the checkbox, which allows users to take the quiz more than once. You'll see that you can specify anywhere from 2 to 100 attempts. So you can tell Kaltura how many attempts they should have in that range. And then if you're allowing multiple attempts, you need to tell Kaltura which score attempt you want to keep. The highest, the lowest, the latest, the first, or an average of all attempts. So it's up to you which attempt is recorded in the gradebook for Canvas. So if you want to choose highest, you can choose highest. Whether or not students see their scores at the end of the quiz here, if you would prefer not to because you've got grade posting policies set and you would like to release scores on a particular day, once you've had a chance to review, then you can choose do not show scores. If it doesn't matter to you and you choose scores, they will see the score they earned on the page after they've submitted the quiz in this player area. And then whether or not they can see the answer. So as you're creating the questions, you're including the answers and the rationale, the whys. Do they get to see that at the end when they've submitted? It's up to you. If you want them to see it, leave it on. If you don't, turn it off. And then the last tab of options is called experience. Should students be allowed to change their answers? So can they go back and change an answer they've previously selected? If you want them to be able to do that, leave that on. Do you want them to be able to skip questions? And so they can skip a question for now to get to the next one and then come back later. If you don't, you can choose do not allow skip. They have to answer the question before it proceeds through the video to the next. And you can also set no seeking forward. So they can't fast forward through. You know, they can't get to the next question. They've got to sit and watch the video and have that progression happen naturally in the video. Once you've got all of those set, you can finally start adding questions to build your quiz. And that's done here in the center of the page. So if I click play, it's going to play my video. I can also use the timeline here at the bottom. So if I want to scrub through quickly to get to the point where I want to ask my question, I can use the options here at the bottom to do that. And if I pause, I want to add a question here, I can simply click add a question. This is where I choose whether it's multiple choice, whether it's true, false. Is this just a reflection point where I want to pause the video and give them some things that I want them to keep in mind as they watch the next segment of the video? Or is this an open-ended question? Open-ended questions are not graded. So the only questions that will be graded when you're building these quizzes are multiple choice and true, false. So you can include the open-ended questions, but it is not graded by Kaltura, and it does not affect their score. The only questions that will affect their score are the multiple choice and the true, false. If you select multiple choice, your screen will look like this. So you simply want to type the question here. And then you enter your answer choices. Pay attention, unlike John and I, the first couple of times we were playing with this, it actually tells you that you should put the correct answer in the first field. And so you would type the correct answer here. And then you can enter additional answer choices below that. So if you wanted to enter files, to add additional spaces for choices, you just click the plus button and it will give you additional answer choices that you can provide students. When you're finished, oh, I'm sorry, I should go up here to the top. There is this little light bulb icon. When you click that light bulb icon, you can enter two things. Hint. So if you want to give students a hint, if they're struggling with the answer to this, is there some sort of hint that you could give them that might help them, choose the right answer? And the rationale or the why the right answer is the right answer. So if you want them to be able to see that kind of feedback, you could enter a hint where you would enter your hint text here and click apply. Or if you're selecting the why, again, you would enter your rationale for the correct answer. Why was the correct answer correct? And you would hit apply to add that to the particular question. When you're done, you hit save. And you'll see that the timeline updates to include this icon that lets you know that a question was entered at this particular point in the video. So again, I can click play to continue progressing. I can use the options here. And if I pause here again, I can add a new question. This time I'll do true or false. Again, type your question here. This time you tell Kaltura which answer is correct by toggling either the true answer or the false answer. The answer that is designated as correct has the green check. Again, you have the same option to provide a hint or a why, and we're just going to go ahead and click save. We have a preview that's available to us here. So when I hit preview, it's going to show me, here's this welcome page that students are going to see when you've created a video quiz. If you've chosen to include those messages, they will be displayed here. Here's where they can download those questions. Okay. If they're ready to take, they would just go ahead and continue. And then the video plays. We can speed this process up. And the question will appear for the student. Once the student answers the question, they select, the video resumes. Okay. We'll get to the next question. Again, you select the answer, hit select, and then we'll just scrub to the end. So this is how it will present to the students. I've chosen not to show scores, or sorry, submit. I did choose to show scores, so it tells me my score is 100%. If I had chosen no scores, they would not see that here. It would just show them that they were done. Because we've allowed multiple attempts, there is a take the quiz again button. If you had chosen not to allow multiple attempts, they would just have it done. Okay, that's the first step in the process. The second step is adding it so that it is connected to the gradebook. So I'm going to go ahead and hit done here. And I'm going to head over to my assignments area. So if I want to make that quiz show up in my gradebook, I'm going to add a new assignment. And then I'm going to scroll down to the submission type. And I'm going to make sure I select external tool. And then I'm going to hit find. You're going to see that there's an option here called Kaltura video quiz. Once you select that option, it will show you all of the quizzes that you've created. And so you find the one that you want to use and you click embed. And then we simply, all of the other options, and we do a save and publish, and that makes it available to students. So you'll notice there's an edit assignment settings, so we can go in and make any changes to that there. We have access to the speed grader, so once students have started taking this exam, we're able to see the scores show up in the speed grader. But again, the first step is heading over to My Media, creating a new video quiz. Once that quiz has been created, you head over to assignments, you add a new assignment, and you make sure you link it to the Kaltura video quiz option that's available there. I kind of sprinted through that last part because video quiz takes longer than we expect always, but it's a really neat feature. We have some people who are playing with that feature, piloting it really this spring, and they're kind of happy with the results. When you're working with the video quizzes, kind of disperse your questions throughout, but also make sure you put the last question near the end. It kind of forces students to watch the entire video. So if you want to make sure they're watching all of the content, make sure you include some questions near the very end of those videos to make sure that they're hanging in and watching the entire thing. It kind of forces them to engage with the video content you're creating. You no longer have to worry, are they watching that content? If you make it a part of their grade and you give them a way to be engaged with it, so they're not just passively watching, they're listening, they're trying to retain, they're interacting, they're answering those questions, they're doing while watching as well. I am going to stop my share and just ask if there are any questions about anything we've showed today. And also a reminder that we do run drop-ins. So if you want to ask or spend more time asking questions about video quiz in particular, when we have more time to kind of get into specifics and details about how you might want to implement, feel free to come to the drop-ins. John, was there anything we didn't get to in the questions? Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording then.